What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you've been paying attention on the podcast side of things, the Outdoor Drive podcast has partnered up with Huntworth Camo, and you can find all their stuff over at huntworthgear.com. Before we get into that, please do us a favor, go down, hit the subscribe button and the like, put some comments down there in the section and let us know your thoughts if you've tried this or if you're interested in trying it, and we'll get back to you. I'm going to tell you right now, right out the gate, that this stuff is impressive. You know, we've worked with multiple clothing brands in the past, both Camo and Comfort, and nobody's really hit everything on the head. But this company has got it figured out. I'll make the claim right now, this set of Camo will definitely give you 80% of the performance of Sitka at about 20% of the cost. So that tells you a lot right there. We'll do a little bit of a review, but this is going to be more of first opinions following turkey season. We were able to take it out for the second half of the season. If you go to the videos above, you'll see it in action as we took Will Jimeno out on a hunt and got to put these things through the paces in Connecticut. And it didn't take long for us to realize that this is something special. So first thing out the gate is Comfort. And let me tell you, this is the most comfortable set of camouflage I've ever worn in the woods. You know, and I know comfort's a matter of personal opinion, but I've not talked to anyone who's worn this and they've had an issue. Everyone loves it. You see a lot of companies make underlayers that have the grid fleece lining for moisture wicking and scent control and all this other stuff. I will say this company's gone above and beyond. It's not just the thermal layers and underlayers that have that. The clothing itself is grid fleece lined, so it's moisture wicking, and it's got antimicrobial treatment to help with scent control. So that in itself is a plus. It doesn't itch, it feels good against the skin, and it does well when it gets warm. And you know, them early season days when you're sweating in a tree, it'll wick that away so you're not just soaking your clothes. The lightweight pants are extremely durable. The way they built in the rear and knee support really was a game changer. Running the camera on a lot of stuff, I'm bouncing around from tree to tree, crawling on my knees to get into position and things like that, turkey hunting, just trying to keep a low profile. And usually within the first day of turkey season, the knees are nasty, muddy, browned out. Your butt's the same way from sitting up against God knows what on the trees and on the ground and everything else in between. And after 4 days straight, all you had to do was dust it off and it pretty much looked like brand new. Didn't get any weird smells to it, didn't tear, didn't have any seams blow out, and that's usually the first thing that happens with gear when we take it out and test it. The crotch holds good, the pockets hold good, the belt loops, nothing busted. Went through a lot of briars trying to see if we could pull stitching, and I think we had one little spot that kind of started to show, but it really didn't do anything. Nothing that had me concerned, and some of that stuff we went through was bad. The base layer itself, the shirt is a perfect camp shirt. It's a perfect real warm day shirt. It's very breathable. It just felt good to have on when you're running around and just scouting and glassing and things like that. It didn't really mess you up. You got the high collar, but you know, it folds, you got the quarter zip. It's all around just a very good shirt. But the one thing I'm real excited about is the quarter zip hoodie. This thing, I was so jacked when we pulled this thing out of the package, because it's everything that I've always tried to put together using multiple items. You know, lightweight, but it's warm enough that, you know, it'll endure those 40-50 degree mornings no problem. It's got the nice kangaroo pocket. It's got an external pocket on the kangaroo pocket, which for me was very useful. With the camera, I would be able to put spare batteries or pieces and parts of things I would need, memory cards, all of that right there. And as you're against the tree, you don't have to really make a lot of movement to get to things, which that was a win in itself. The pocket, the chest pocket that comes on this thing is very gracious. I mean, there's a lot of room in there. A lot of these companies make gear where the chest pockets, you know, if you can get 4 fingers in or so, that's about all you're getting. You may be able to get a cell phone in there. This one, plenty of room. That way you're not fighting it. You don't have to worry about things falling out of it. The hood on it is phenomenal. It's not a big floppy hood like you see with a lot of regular hoodies. It's form fit more like a actual face masks hood would be. And speaking of face masks, this has the built-in face mask. Now, typically the face masks on these things are either way loose and they're saggy and they don't stay up, or they're so tight they pretty much choke you out, especially if you got a lot of facial hair. As Trev really got to test out on this one, it fit wonderful. You know, you just pull it right over your head and slide it down, and it didn't choke you. You could breathe through it. You didn't get a lot of moisture buildup in it. It was great if you didn't want to carry the additional hood. So that was probably my favorite part about this whole package, because I like face coverings, but I don't like being, you know, smothered by the stuff you're wearing. We've been buying their beanies and gloves from Rural King and Walmart for years because they're durable, they hold up, they keep you warm. But when you get the higher end stuff, it's even a step above that. I mean, I had some really good gear for cold weather. This stuff was hands down better. And there's nothing better than sitting in a tree comfortable or sitting against a tree comfortable. I mean, that's the difference between a good hunt and a bad hunt. You know, if you're not comfortable in what you're doing, whether you're hiking through the mountains or you're climbing trees or you're sitting in a blind, if you don't have that comfort around you, you know, you don't have to think about your clothing and your gear, and you can just focus on the hunt, that makes it that much better. So I was extremely impressed with the lightweight layers. And then getting into the midweights, we did have a couple mornings out there that were, you know, well into the 30s, and trust me, we were shaking as we were getting up and getting going. But you put the layered system on, which is how this is designed, and when you get that midweight jacket on over the quarter zip hoodie, do that, throw the beanie on top, get the midweight gloves, and we were off to the races. We didn't have any issues. We're doing the jackhammering against the tree. You know, you don't have to worry about shaking during a shot. You know, my camera wasn't shaky because I couldn't sit still. It just did its job so we could do ours. And that in itself was phenomenal, because, you know, I'm always fidgeting and having to adjust things and get comfortable. You know, that whole doesn't fit right when you're sitting there, and you know, it's like having a mosquito bugging. You can't quit slapping at it. So I was very impressed and glad we didn't have to do that with any of this. The other cool thing about this stuff is the material they use. It is incredibly silent as you're moving through the woods. Things don't grab and hang up on it. It doesn't give you that nasty sound when you're moving, you know, when you can hear some of these fabrics that are supposed to be, you know, weatherproof or whatever. This stuff just really did its job. So I highly recommend you guys take a good hard look at Huntworth Camo. You can find them again at huntworthgear.com. And you want to refit yourself this season, but not blow the bank, this is the way to go. You know, they've got a versatile set of patterns, as you can see, and trust me, they were way more effective than I expected. Get in there, find what fits you, find what fits your surroundings, and get after it. Alright guys, we appreciate you watching. We hope you enjoy what we're doing here. If you do us a favor again, like, subscribe, and until then, thanks for taking the ride right here on the Outdoor Drive.